Hello and welcome to this video tutorial, brought to you by tastytudes.com. In this tutorial, I will be discussing how to prepare for your InDesign project, in particularly your project files. When it comes to Adobe InDesign, preparation is the key. As you will find out later, a lot can go into an InDesign document. It is just as important what's going on outside InDesign as well as what's going on inside. This will become very clear later on in the course. For those who are not familiar with InDesign and are more familiar with programs such as Photoshop and Illustrator, you will come to notice a difference with InDesign. To put it briefly, when you place an image into your InDesign document, it's only going to be representative. InDesign is a layout program and not an image manipulation tool. Now, it is possible to embed images into a composition, but for this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate images as links that exist outside InDesign. In this video, I will be talking about organization of project files. The more organized you are, the easier the whole process will be. So you can concentrate more on being creative other than worrying where all your source images are. For this tutorial, we are going to prepare a document ready for print. So there are some important facts I need to keep in mind. For example, any images within the document will have to be CMYK and not RGB. This is very important. Basically, RGB is a format for screens, digital artwork for websites and video. CMYK is the format for print. Your images will also have to be a minimum of 300 dpi and of a high quality, otherwise your finished print might not look that professional or clear. Now, the last thing you want once you or the client has spent all that money printing is to have pixelated graphics in your artwork. So let's get into it. So I'm about to start the new project. I have received the brief from the client as well as the text document and all the necessary images, which we can see here on the desktop. You can find these files in the Start folder in the downloadable project folder for this course. Link is in the description. So the first thing I'm going to do is prepare my files. So I'm going to create a new working folder here on my desktop, and I'm going to call this Bike Leaflet. Inside this new working folder, I'm going to create a bunch of additional folders. I'm going to create a folder called Layouts, then Assets, Resources, Scamp Design, Low-Res PDF, and High-Res PDF. Now, I have numbered them like this for the sake of hierarchy, and this will position them in the correct order in my project folder. Next, I'm going to come into my Assets folder and I'm going to create some additional folders. I'm going to start by creating a folder called JPEG, next, PSD, AI, TIFF, PNG, and PDF. Now, I'm creating these folders as it will be much easier to manage my image files in future, instead of having all the images all bunched together in one folder. Now, I may not use all these file types, but they are there just in case I find myself using them in future. So let's come out of this and back into my main folder. So now I have a nice organized system for me to work in. You don't need to have these folders in particular. You may choose to do this in a different way, but I use this system and it really works for me. So what are these folders for? Well, the Layouts folder is for my InDesign document. I'm going to save my InDesign document in here. The Assets folder will be for all the images and graphics that appear in the InDesign document, all organized in their specific file types. The Resources folder will be for any content or files regarding the document, such as text documents, briefs, or spreadsheets. The Scamp Design folder will be for any Scamp drawings or design research files for my project. These could be drawings or visuals that I plan to base my InDesign composition on. The Low-Res PDF folder will be for when we export a low-resolution PDF, and this will be used to send over email to the client for approval and status updates. Lastly, the high-res PDF folder. This is where the high-resolution PDF will be placed. This will be the full quality PDF that will be sent to the printers to print. So once I have created these folders, I'm going to take my files from the desktop and place them in the appropriate folders. So I'm going to move the brief and leaflet text document into the resources folder in my project folder, like so. Now, looking in the images folder received from the client, I can see that a lot of these images are JPEGs. So I'm going to move these into the JPEG folder in my assets folder, like so. I have two AI files, so I'm going to move these into the AI folder in the assets folder. Now I can delete this old images folder on the desktop, and now I'm left with the project folder. So now I know exactly where and organized all in one main project folder. Now I could leave this on the desktop or file this away elsewhere on my computer, but for the rest of this course I'm going to leave it here on the desktop. So now I'm ready to start my InDesign document. But before I do that, I just want to focus on my images. So let's take a look at them. So the client took some of the images with his digital camera and also purchased some off the internet from royalty-free image websites. So as you can imagine, they are all RGB. Now we can check this by looking at the information. One way we can do this is by opening the image in Photoshop and look at the color profile under image mode. So all these images are RGB. Now remember what I said earlier about images having to be CMYK for print? Well, now I'm going to have to change every image from RGB to CMYK. I could do this later, but since I have all the images, I'm going to do this. Demonstrating how to quickly change a batch of images from RGB to CMYK. Remember,